Let us now begin to look at some problems in literacy. Let us start with gender differences. There is a great difference in the rates of enrollment of boys as compared to girls in Pakistan. Whether we look at the big cities, whether we look at the good English medium schools, whether we look at the rural areas, whether we focus on government schools, this is a reality. There are more boys going to school than there are girls in our country. Why is that so? A lot of it comes from culture, a lot of it comes from parents being educated or not being educated. A lot of it comes from the rural settings because a large portion of our population lives in the rural community. Gender differences have existed and even exist today. How are we going to at least bring the female population in schools at par with the male population that attends schools? According to UNESCO figures, primary school enrollment for girls stands at 60% as compared to 84% for boys. That's a 24% shortfall in the female populations going to schools. 80% boys is not that good, but it's not that bad either. Only 20% of the boys are not going to school, but 40% of the girls are not going to school. That's alarming. How do we make sure that more girls begin to enroll in schools, stay in schools? Because if we only look at enrollment numbers and we don't look at dropouts, we may get the wrong figures. Enrolling is not necessarily getting through the system. Getting out at the end guarantees that you have done it all the way through. The secondary school enrollment rate stands at a lower rate of 32% for females and 46% for males. We do have an issue with dropouts, and a lot of it has to do with what we do in our elementary schools, in our middle schools with our students. What do teachers do? What do we teach? How exciting do we make the learning experience of the students will determine how many stay in school and how many drop out. Another factor for high dropout rates in our part of the world is corporal punishment that teachers impose on students. For not doing the work, for not learning, for not bringing the materials, whatever the reason may be, corporal punishment is not the answer, should not be the answer. There are other things that teachers and people in education can do to guarantee that the learning experience for the students is exciting, interesting, enjoyable, and the student will not drop out along the way. These low figures in secondary means even fewer students get to the tertiary level of education. The campuses of colleges and universities may be full, may look full, but the percentage of our young population getting from high school to university tends to be dropping. And that, again, is because of what we do in education prior to the students getting to the tertiary level. It is our job to make this experience interesting and exciting. On July 9, 2012, the Senate passed a law on the right to free and compulsory education. Free and compulsory, two key words. Compulsory education means all children of a particular age that need to be in school, need to be in school. Who is checking on that? Who is guaranteeing that? Who is going to the homes and getting these kids out and saying, you need to be in a classroom? Unless there is accountability, unless there is supervision, unless somebody is monitoring this, this is not happening. And the right to free and compulsory education. What education? Elementary, secondary, higher secondary, tertiary, all? What levels of education are being addressed here is another key thing to look into. All over the world, poverty is the main cause of low literacy rate. Now, if the fees and all were waived off, if education was free, this poverty would still be an issue in terms of low literacy rates. Because when parents have to struggle to put 1 or 2 square meals on the table every day. They are not. Even if education is free, there are other salient hidden expenses: uniform, clothes, books, transportation, materials and equipment. Where is the money coming for all that? How much? When we say free education, it's only that there are no fees. What about all the other expenses that add up for these families? So poverty is the key criminal in this war against illiteracy. Now, for the literacy rate compared to Sri Lanka and India that stand at a literacy rate of 91.2 and 61% respectively, Pakistan is lumbering at a mere 57.8. Now look at Sri Lanka. 91% of its population is literate. India, 61%. We are 58%, only 3% better than us. But just look at Sri Lanka. It's part of South Asia. It is part of the SAARC community. If that nation can have a 91% literacy rate, what's wrong with us? We need to make sure that what we put on paper gets transformed into reality.